So today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at measurement of angles in degrees and a new unit of measure, radians, and also how we can actually sketch these angles in our coordinate plane. So you studied angles back in geometry. Well, we're going to look at angles in our coordinate plane. So just to review, remember an angle consists of two rays and it has a common vertex. So if you remember, that's what composes an angle. So when we look at angles in our coordinate plane, the rays have special names. The initial side and the terminal side are the two special names we give the rays. So when we talk about the initial side, that is the ray that remains on the positive x-axis. It does not rotate around, it does not move. The terminal side is the ray that will rotate to form the angle. So we talk about angles. We can look at not only angles having a positive angle measurement, but also a negative angle measurement. So for an angle to be a positive angle measurement, the terminal side rotates in a counterclockwise direction. So again, the vertex of the angle is always at the origin. There's my initial side. So when I sketch an angle, you must always show the initial side and the terminal side. So this is my initial side. Notice that's planted on the positive x-axis. My terminal side is the ray that rotates around to form the actual angle measurement. And again, when we talk about our counterclockwise direction, this is the direction you have to show. So when we talk about an angle, if an angle has a measure of 0 degrees, that means the initial side and terminal side are both located on the positive x-axis. So for an angle to have a negative angle measurement, all that's relating to is the direction or the rotation of the ray. So this ray is going to rotate in a clockwise direction. So you still have your initial side on the positive x-axis. So I'm still going to put my terminal side up here in quadrant 2. But to have a negative angle measurement, it's going to have to rotate in this particular direction. So again, it's all about the direction. So this is still my initial side, this is still my terminal side, but it's all about the direction of the angle. So you have to show these three things when you are sketching any angle. So when we talk about an angle in standard position, it's an angle whose vertex is at the origin and the initial side is on the positive x-axis. So all the angles we're going to sketch are going to be in standard position. And again, the vertex is at the origin and the initial side is on the positive x-axis. When we talk about a quadrantal angle, it's still an angle in standard position, but the terminal side actually falls on an axis. It doesn't fall in an actual quadrant. It's actually going to fall on your x or y axis. So let's take a look at how we can sketch these angles. So again, let's sketch an angle of 55 degrees. And I want to state what quadrant the angle is if it's a quadrantal. So again, my vertex is at the origin. There's my initial side. Well, any right angle, the 90 degrees, is going to be where the axis is. So this is up here on the positive y-axis. That would measure 90 degrees. So I know 55 degrees is a little bit more than 45 degrees, so I'm just going to sketch my terminal side and again show the direction. And you can see that the terminal side is in quadrant 1. So when you're sketching angles, here's your 0 degrees, here's your 90. To go another 90 is going to be 180. 180 plus 90 is 270. As some tick marks to help you figure out where the angles are going to fall. So 280. Again, there's my initial side on the positive x-axis. So I know 280 degrees is 10 more degrees than 270. So it's going to be fairly close to that negative y-axis down there. And again, it's a positive angle measurement, so I'm going to show the direction in that counterclockwise rotation. And again, you can see that the terminal side falls in quadrant 4. 425 degrees. It is possible. I know if I make one complete revolution around, that's going to be 360 degrees. It is possible to have an angle greater than 360 degrees. That means what's going to happen is you're going to have to show one full revolution when you sketch an angle. So 425 degrees. So here's my initial side. So I know if I make one full rotation, that's 360 degrees. So what you have to figure out is how many more degrees you have to go past 360. So what you would simply do is take 425 degrees and subtract 360 degrees. So that's going to give me the difference between 425 and 360 is going to give me 65 degrees. So once I pass the 360 mark, I'm going to go another 65 degrees, which puts me up here again in quadrant 1. So if you have an angle greater than 360, you've got to show that rotation. Negative 180 degrees. So here's my initial side and vertex at the origin. So I know that since I'm going in a negative angle measurement, this would be negative 90. This is going to be negative 180. And you want to show the direction going in a clockwise movement or a clockwise rotation. And since your terminal side is on an axis, we call this angle a quadrantal. So that's how you can sketch positive and negative angles in the coordinate plane.